Let's now dive into the very curious developments of John Fetterman. John Fetterman, who seems to be very hard to pinpoint here. Here he is in this interview admonishing his fellow Democrats for opposing the Laken Riley Act. Let's play cut 64.
We have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of migrants here illegally that have convicted of crimes. And why? I don't know why. Who wants to defend that, to allow them to remain in our nation? That. And now, if you're here illegally and you're committing crimes and those things, I don't know why anybody thinks that it's controversial that they all need to go.
Do you think that this was one of, if not the biggest issue for this election?
Well, I think if we can't, there's 47 of us in the Senate, and if we can't pull up with 7 votes, if we can't get at least 7 out of 47, and if we can't, then that's the reason why we lost. That's one of them. That's one of why we lost, in part.
Senator, what is going on with Mr. Fetterman?
Well, first of all, he comes from a swing state like I do, and he realizes that obviously they lost the Senate seat in Pennsylvania. He'll be up for re-election eventually. I think, again, he's smart enough to realize that was a big issue in this election. And by the way, who could oppose, literally, what rational individual can oppose deporting criminals? Well, Democrat Party in total, they did oppose that because they wanted an open border. They elect George Soros prosecutors, but a lot of those prosecutors lost as well. So, Fetterman, in a swing state, sees when the tide turns, and he's a smart enough politician to at least not buck these major trends where, again, you can't defend opposing a bill that's going to deport criminals.
So it's hard to tell whether or not it's authentic. Do you think that there will be more Democrats that potentially might signal similarly, and John Ossoff or others? Your thoughts on this?
Well, listen, I think vulnerable Democrats, those are up for re-election in 2026, they may vote. I'll be surprised if we get more than 6, because if we get 7, the bill passes. I'm not sure the Democrat Party is going to let it pass. I mean, again, I can't explain that. I mean, I can't explain liberalism. I can't explain the way the Democrat Party is taking such a strong, turn to the left here. But that's who they are right now.
Let's play cut 95, Senator Fetterman, of whether or not he might support some of Trump's nominees. Play cut 95.
But I want to sit down and have a conversation, and I'm really glad that I've done that. And some of these nominees I'm going to vote for already. In fact, whether it's our colleague Rubio, Representative Stefanik, or even Sean Duffy, I expect to vote for him as well too, and Brooke Rollins for agriculture. Yeah. So there's a lot of them I can say right now here on Fox. I'm going to vote for them. But there's others, but that we're going to go through the process. But I'm open to hear from everyone, and I don't know why that's controversial.
I mean, I wish that was the way that this would proceed, that we would have more discussions and dialogues like this and be open-minded. I mean, Senator, you voted for some nominees of other parties before. Can you speak to that? I'm not putting you on the spot for that, but I'm saying there should be some yielding to an incoming administration, correct?
Well, that pretty much used to be the tradition of the Senate is, okay, elections matter. A president should decide who wants to serve in their cabinet. And as long as there's nothing disqualifying, you go ahead and confirm that nominee. For one thing, you want to work with those department heads. So you don't want to start off a relationship and say, I'm going to vote against you. So, again, the bias always was, if it's a qualified individual, elections matter, you'd go ahead and vote for confirmation and try and work with that department head for the benefit of our constituents and for the benefit of America. I stopped doing that with the Biden administration because the nominees were just wacko, radical leftists. And in the end, you say, I can't support that at all. So it's changed. It's become very partisan, and that is unfortunate. But what Fetterman's talking about right now is pretty much the way that the Senate has always traditionally looked at confirmations, and there's been a lot of bipartisan support for cabinet heads.
In closing here, Senator, is there any red flags that you are seeing from Pete to Tulsi to Bobby Kennedy Cash Some senators are saying that all of Trump's nominees seem poised to be confirmed. Would you agree with that assessment?
I think so, because the default position, particularly on the Republican side, is the elections do matter. Trump had a convincing victory, and it's up to Trump to decide who he wants serving his cabinet. Whether you like that individual or not, you're not the president. He is. And so our duty is pretty much to get in line and go ahead and confirm his nominees, barring some really disqualifying factors. So I think that's the attitude of most Republican senators, and I do expect them to get confirmed.